This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors, to episode number 26 of the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. Today we have good neighbor Jenni Berman from Berman Health and Wellness. Jenni, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Always good to get to know people out here in the community. So I guess we'll start out by saying let's cut the fat and jump right in a little bit about Berman Health and Wellness.
Absolutely. So Berman Health and Wellness is a functional medicine practice in Naples, Florida, although we now have a location in Bonita Springs as well and work virtually. But we help individuals to reach their goal weight and improve their gut health while maintaining the highest quality of life imaginable. So to sum it up, our goal is to heal your insides and get you off of medications.
That is great. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there nowadays that need some of that help. So how did you get involved in this industry?
Oh, of course, most definitely. So I actually got involved for my own self-care. And I feel, that's the way a lot of functional medicine providers get into the niche of functional medicine these days, is they just weren't getting the answers from Western medicine. And of course, as a physician assistant, I learned Western medicine. I was taught Western medicine. I was taught to be a primary care provider, but it just wasn't giving me the answers for my own health issues that I was having back in 2013, 14, 15, and got to the point where I had seen multiple doctors, was taking so many pills a day. I was 24 years old and not getting any answers. And my husband, now boyfriend at the time, said, you can't live like this. You can't live taking 20 pills a day. We have to find other answers outside of normal streamlined medicine. So I started doing my own research and figuring out my own issues. I actually invested in a functional medicine provider myself and really realized that there's a passion here, that I don't want one more person to go through what I went through of bouncing from doctor to doctor, taking tons and tons of pills with no answers. So I knew I had to do it myself and help other individuals to avoid that mill.
That's great. There's a lot of times people think, what is an extra pill will do it for me, or another one. And it adds up, and I think it ends up causing more problems down the line than it actually helps.
That's exactly right. Every medicine has a side effect, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you listen to the commercials, and that's half the commercial.
Right. It's sad. Yes.
So, are there any myths or misconceptions about the industry or what you do that maybe you could, I would say, bust for people?
Sure. So, first things first, when people hear functional medicine, they think, it's off the wall, it's using Chinese herbs, which some functional medicine providers do use herbs and use different techniques like the acupuncture and more of the Eastern type medicine. But a lot of times what I want to get through to our patients or to prospects of functional medicine is the bottom line of functional medicine is we're treating problems and not symptoms. We're treating you as an individual. We're figuring out what's going on with your body. It's not just this, one size fits all Eastern medicine. It's not one size fits all Western medicine. It's what's going on with your body. In our practice, we might use herbs. We might use supplementation. We might use acupuncture or therapy, or we might just use diet and nutrition to change what's going on. So it really is about you as an individual, not just another, streamlined thought process for medicine.
And that's what it really needs to be, because everybody's a little bit different, their body makeup and how they react to things. And that's great. So are there any, I want to say, trends within the industry or things that you see happening more often than maybe in the past?
Oh, for sure. In our practice specifically, we dive into nutrition. We really focus on the food that you're putting into the body, the nutrients that you're putting into the body. And we're seeing more and more and more that the food people are consuming is just causing inflammation in their system. And it's nobody's fault except for the fact that our foods here in America are constantly being modified. We're getting emulsifiers put into things. We're getting additives put into our products to help with increasing the shelf life and to be able to mass produce products for the amount of people we have. And our bodies are getting more and more sensitive to that. And so something that we're finding with a lot of our clients is they'll think they're doing all the right things and they're not losing weight, or they're doing all the right things and their gut is still, they still have irritable bowel syndrome or asthma or psoriasis, arthritis. And it's not because they're not trying the right things. It's just they haven't found the right foods for their body. And we're seeing a lot more of food sensitivities. So individuals being sensitive to gluten or to dairy or to egg or almond, and they don't know. They don't know how to figure that out on their own.
Yeah, and that's, you hit a point. I've watched a lot of podcasts on healthy eating and the things that are actually put into food, and you'd be shocked if most people would watch those and realize what actually goes into the food that you're eating that is deemed quote unquote healthy. And it's just, it's amazing how bad some of that stuff is for you. It's I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Are there certain foods or diets we should lean towards or stay away from?
I can't answer that with a one size fits all. Again, it really depends on the individual. Certainly with us being the nutrition experts, we have tons of different things that we're recommending depending on the client. Some individuals will do best on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. Some individuals don't need to be gluten-free and dairy-free. Some need to have a little bit more healthy fats in their diet, while others need to have more protein and lower carbohydrates. So I'm not one to say the paleo diet is for everybody or the keto diet is for everyone. I can't tell you that. That doesn't mean that I don't have people on a keto diet or a paleo diet, but it has to be very individualized. And something that we do in our practice specifically is we look at your blood test. We look at lab work and blood testing and vitamin levels and really identify what is actually going to work for your body. And that's the right meal plan for you. And it really should be based off of what we call macronutrients. So proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And that needs to be specific for each individual based on their medical history, their medicines, their activity level, their jobs, their stress. Everything plays into that.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. It's not, diets just aren't about losing weight. It's about being healthy and having more energy and having the body, work the way it's supposed to be. So there's a lot of different effects, I said, rather than proper eating than just losing weight like most people, would think they do. We've all gone through some type of hardship or challenge to get where we are today. Is there one that's maybe defined you that you'd like to share?
Oh goodness, that's deep. And, I actually just talked on my social media this morning about how if you're going through a challenge, talk to somebody, because there's a great chance that somebody else has gone through a very similar thing, or what you're going through could help someone else actually. So being able to talk about your challenges. And I'll say for me, the word that describes me best is perseverance. I was never the smartest kid in the class. I always had to work really hard for it. I was never the best one on my gymnastics team. I always had to work really hard for it. Perseverance has defined me. And that is the same thing here in becoming a physician assistant. I didn't pass my boards the first time. I knew I was great at what I didn't pass the written test the first time. So I persevered through that. And really just having the perseverance in my own health to say, I'm not going to let 4 doctors dictate what's going on in my life. I'm going to persevere through this, do the research, figure out what's going on in my own body so that I can help one more person. And, I wrote a book and I talk about my own health journey in the whole first chapter of my book, because it has defined who I am and being able to help that one more person. And to, go one step further, not to make this too long, but we've been through infertility challenges. And again, we saw 2 different infertility doctors and ultimately came down to, I need to do something more functional to figure this out. And now we have 2 healthy babies and have helped many individuals with their fertility challenges. So it's always that challenge where I say, I'm not going to let this be the dictator of my life. I'm going to figure it out and persevere through it.
That's great. That a lot more people need that type of attitude. So are you from here originally, this area?
No, I'm from Florida, but I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I moved down here about 8 years ago. My husband is a second generation Naples native. So
okay. It's a beautiful, beautiful area, but all of Florida is beautiful. So yeah, we love it down here. So outside of work, what do you enjoy doing?
We are always outside. We are big boaters. We love being out on the water, being out in the sunlight. I talk about it all the time, how sunlight just makes such a big difference in our mental health, dopamine and serotonin levels and gut healing. So I utilize it as part of my own healing process and, encourage our clients to do the same. But we love boating, watching football during football season. We're big college football fans. So that's a big thing on the weekends as well.
That's great. Yeah. And it's like I said, living down here and being out in the sunlight, I'm from the Midwest originally, and, it's this time of year. It starts getting gray and gloomy, and you just feel everything just kind of getting heavy on you. But down here, it's sunshine and happiness. So are there any last things you'd like to share about Berman Health and Wellness for our listeners?
For everyone listening, my biggest takeaway from this is question your providers. If you don't think you're getting the right answers, if you aren't getting the answers you want or need, question your providers. Invest in somebody different that can walk through the challenges with you and really identify what's going on with your body from the inside out. You don't need to take no as an answer. You don't need to take a pill as an answer. Keep researching. Contact an integrative or functional medicine provider, even if it's not us, but take that next step that's going to change your life. It can make a big difference.
Jenni, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. How would our listeners get a hold of you if they'd like to check you guys out?
Absolutely. So our website is Berman, BERMAN, PT, as in physical therapy.com /wellness. WELLNESS. So BermanPT.com /wellness. You can also reach out to us on social media. So our Instagram @Berman_wellness. Or if you reach our website, you'll be able to find all of our social media platforms, my email address, our phone number. So that's probably the best place to go.
Perfect. Jenni, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for being a good neighbor. And we'll see you out in the community soon.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpestero.com. That's gnpestero.com. Or call 239-296-2621.